This is PC Teardown with John Rios. There are no tools required for this teardown. This is a Dell Optiplex GX260 standard tower PC case. As you can see, it's pretty standard. Not so many bells and whistles. Just an overall case that can easily be taken apart. Unfortunately, this is a broken case, so I had to make accommodations with this process. I basically asked my boss if I can use it. She said yes, and this is where we're at. Right now I'm just going over how to open the case. On each side of the top and bottom, there are two tabs. These two tabs allow easy access to open the case. I used one hand to hold the camera and one hand to open the case. As you can see, as I open the case, the wires, the ribbons, and such are easily labeled, and we'll start taking it apart. Here is the internal modem. It has a simple handle that you could just lift up and take it right out. It connects to a dock and it locks into place, as you'll see later when we put it back together. Right now we're taking out the dual RAM. Each one is about 1 gig, not so special. They're held in by tabs on the left side and the right side. Once you click those tabs out, the RAM is easily taken out. They only click in one way, as you'll see later. Now we're taking off the motherboard heatsink. It's very simple. This is what keeps the processor protected. It's one round latch and one simple connector, 4-port connector that I'm going to show you in about 2 seconds. It's a little bit snug fitting, but it gets the job done. Not too bad. Now we're doing the internal hard drive. I think this is like a 120 gig hard drive, which is pretty standard for about like a year or so ago. You take out the main ribbon that connects to the motherboard. You take out the ribbon that connects to the power supply. The two tabs on the side you squeeze, slide it right out, and it comes out relatively simply. Not that much to worry about. Dell did a pretty good job with labeling all their parts and giving color-coded sections. Now we're going to take out the CDRW here. Another simple, that one's orange, obviously. Doesn't matter if either ribbon goes, orange, blue. It's all really regulated to the motherboard. And you can see these two tabs here. Slide out, squeeze, slide out. Place on the side, and you move on to the next part of the computer. Pretty simple, nothing to it. Now the floppy drive. The floppy drive is probably the most useless piece of equipment in this particular case. Standard 4-port connector, slight ribbon, squeeze, and out. I don't know of anyone that still uses a floppy drive. Everybody uses USBs. But still part of the teardown process, and it's pretty simple. I'm probably repeating myself with simplicity, but it's the truth. Now we're going to attack the motherboard. You got to disconnect the power supply cables, the ribbons from the hard drive, CDR drive, and the floppy drive. There goes that one. And now this tab here is what holds it into place. You simply lift it up, pull out to the left, it slides out, and there is your motherboard with processor attached. It's pretty simple that you can see that it's all connected, and this is where all the connections for the computer is. The power supply, basically everything that this computer needs is connected right here. This tab right here pulls it right out. All the cables are disconnected. Place it on the side, and there's our teardown. It's relatively quick and easy to do. Here's the empty tower case. Pretty simple. All you can see left is the LEDs, which I will not disconnect because this is a no tools teardown. There's no reason to disconnect the LEDs because the LEDs are already deactivated. They are not connected whatsoever because of the brokenness of this computer. Now here are all the components laid out. Internal modem. This one is for telephone wire and such. Ethernet. This is the heatsink that protects the processor. There's the power supply. Back to the heatsink. I just wanted to turn it over here so you can see the protection that's there. It has its own little fan. Here's the RAM. I believe I flip it over so you can see how it's like individual chips on it. Here's the floppy drive, 3.5 if anybody wants to know. The CDRW, so you can burn disk. And a dusty hard drive with its connections. And of course the motherboard. If you look in the bottom right hand corner, there's two processors. There's the Intel processor because this is an Intel based computer. There's one, and then there's one under the heatsink area. Not much to it. I believe it's a pretty simple teardown. I don't think there should be any issues with that. Now we're going to put it back together. I believe I used a vertical view of my camera, which was interesting because I read a report about how we're becoming so accustomed to our phones that we no longer switch it to horizontal planes. Okay, now we're going to connect the power supply. Pretty simple. That was my pink sock right there. Slides into place. Pretty simple with that. Now we're going to do the motherboard. Slides into place. Make sure all the ribbons are connected. There's a little piece in the bottom right hand corner that you slide it into, and it clicks into place. All you hear are the clicks that it makes to connect. It's not that complicated. Heatsink with fan. Like from earlier, you connect it with the little dowel that's there. You crank it, and it folds right into place. See? Turn it. Oh, there we go. And click it into place. Take that, make sure it's connected so that the wire's not being dragged. Internal modem with the handle. Makes it simple. Just you put it right into the ports. As you can see, I'm zooming in on it right there. Make sure there's only one way it could go. If you don't get it in that way, then obviously you put it in backwards. Securing it, make sure it doesn't move anywhere, and that's that. Now for the RAM, another simple solution. Make sure that it's in place. You hear the two clicks on the clamps on the side, and there it goes. One, and does it manually, automatically, not manually. And then you put the second one in, because this is a dual RAM computer. Push it in, and it clicks into place. Can't get any easier than that. These are secured to make sure that it's working. Time for the hard drive. Oh no, this is the CDRW. I'm doing it out of order, I'm sorry. There's the hard drive. It's a little bit smaller, but you know, hard drives are magnetic disk. Slide it in. Panel up. Boom. Complete. Time for the floppy drive. You could probably go on without putting this in, but since it was at the beginning, now I'll just put it back in to make sure it gets into place. Turn it around to make sure it fits. Yep, look at that. Slides right in. Don't even need to click the green buttons. Now, the hardest part is getting all these ports to connect properly. Even though you could put it into different sections, I try to keep it in orderly fashion. As you see, I'm switching it around because it probably didn't fit in the proper way there. Remember that there's two ports to connect. The thick ribbon is for the for the motherboard, and the skinnier wires are for the power supply because you need power to use those devices. There's the other ribbon. This one orange going back into the CDRW. Dell makes it relatively easy to put this stuff back together because of the color codedness. With the blue, you know, from earlier I took it apart and put it in the hard drive. So you just slide it in there. And that'll be it. Now we're going to do the motherboard connectors for other devices. So this is the heatsink. As you can see, it's 4-port. Slides right back in. Oh, in place there. Okay. Next, this is for the motherboard to connect to the... Doesn't matter which one it is. Right now, I put it into the floppy drive, but it can go into the hard drive or the CDRW. Once you go into the BIOS of the computer, you could adjust accordingly. This is the power supply that goes right to the motherboard, because without power, you can't do anything with the computer. Pretty simple jack. As you can see, it has a lot of wires, because it has, I'm going to guess, off the top of my head, it's like roughly 20 different connectors that all could join into one. Because the power of the PC, as you can see, the fan there is a little dusty because it hasn't been used. That's my arm. This one connects to the LED, but the LED doesn't work, so I just wanted to show you it connecting there. Now this one goes into either, right now, the hard drive. It can go only one way, and it's labeled P2, so you can see. That whole wire set is labeled with P for power. So it's pretty ideal when connecting wires back, so you don't have to tax your brain on what to connect. That one's going into the CDRW. And the final connector, well, 2 connectors. This goes into to run the USB ports, the VGA out, other Ethernet, and that's it. Everything's connected. That was my foot again with pink socks. I find it funny that I was wearing pink socks while doing this, but it's okay. Real men wear pink. Shows a little bit of my personality to you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video teardown and put back together. Now we lift it up so you can see everything's back to normal of sorts, since it's a broken tower. And this is John Real signing off. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you very much.